On today's flight, we will escape the busy Bay Area and leave crowded cities and congested roads behind us. Join me on a flight along California's beautiful coastline to its most undeveloped area. This flight leads us almost 200 nautical miles north of the San Francisco Bay Area to the middle of California's Lost Coast, an area so inaccessible that even the Pacific Coast Highway moves inward during this stretch.
Read to the tower, Skyhawk 787 Papa, holding short of the run right, ready for departure.
Cessna 787 Papa, Reed Hillview Tower, right turn out, runway C on right, clear for takeoff.
Through and right, clear for takeoff, right turn out, 787 Papa.
On this flight, there will be many firsts. It's the farthest I've ever flown, the most remote airport I've ever landed at, and the strongest headwind I've experienced so far. And there are many more things I've never done before this adventure.
Airspeed's alive, engine instrument in the green, there's 55, rotate.
Cessna 7 Sierra Papa, contact NorCal Departure 121.3, have a good flight.
121.3, thanks for the help. Yep. NorCal approach, Skyhawk 787 Papa, 3,800, climbing 4,500.
In November 787 Papa, NorCal approach, open up for 3002.
3002, 787 Papa.
We are departing via Calaveras Reservoir, as you've seen in many of my other videos. The reservoir is an easy-to-spot landmark and a fast way out of the Bay Area's busy airspace leading below San Francisco's Class Bravo and around Oakland's Class Charlie.
And once we're off the Bay Area, we can talk a little bit about our actual route today and where we're heading. Pretty exciting, actually. Surprisingly cold up here.
Well, my traffic, 12 o'clock, 1
not surprising, but it's colder. It feels colder than I thought. Alright, so what we're actually going to do today, we just departed Reed Hillview, did the Calaveras Departure, which is always, like, almost always the departure to the north, to our next waypoint called Salad, which, I mean, that's gotta be my favorite waypoint, just for the name. And we're staying under the San Francisco Class Bravo, which is the blue area here. And we'll head basically past Napa and much further up north, quite a bit, all the way to a small little airport called Shelter Cove. I've never been there, but everybody tells me it's this amazingly beautiful airport. The airport is right at the coast. So you're landing, coming in over the ocean. It can get foggy up there, so I think it's the first airport that I've been to that doesn't have its own weather station. So worst case, actually we're going to head up there for 2 hours, and then it's fogged in. Well, it is the longest trip that I've done in a plane so far. Our remaining flight time is 1 hour 42. It's a little over 2 hours to get there today because we have pretty strong headwinds. It's a very beautiful day for flying. Because it's so windy, it's bumpy, or it can get bumpy, sure, but one of the benefits is the air is super clean. So you can see pretty far. I think that's honestly the best view I've ever had of San Francisco in this area here. Actually pretty beautiful. You can see the Gold Gate and actually far beyond that. So we're starting to leave the Bay Area and we're heading into more mountainous area. So in a bit here, at the next waypoint, we're going to climb up to 6,500. Just to give us a little bit more safety margin in case something goes wrong.
North of Napa, California very quickly becomes very remote, and my head immediately starts wondering about what would happen if I'd lose the engine here. As I watch the landscape pass by, I keep scanning for good landing sites and make sure to keep enough air between the plane and the ground to always be in gliding distance of a feasible site. While planning this flight, I had to make a choice. Should I take the coastal route, which no doubt would give me an amazing view of the coastline, Point Reyes, Bodega Bay and other beautiful sights? Or should I fly inland with more airports, a big highway and multiple cities along my way? When getting your pilot's license, one of the most crucial things you learn is that flying, like every other activity, has a risk to it that you will never be able to eliminate completely, and different situations have different risks attached to them. As a pilot, it's your job to assess those risks and decide which of those risks are worth taking and which to avoid. Since I've never flown in this area before, and since you can only learn so much about an area without actually having been there yourself, on this flight I chose the inland route, which has airports and better options should something happen.
Oakland Radio, Skyhawk 7870 Sierra Papa on the Point Arena RCO.
Cessna 7870 Papa, Oakland Radio, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to amend my flight plan. We're coming in later than expected. The new estimated arrival time is 12:20 p.m. local.
It's currently 18:51, so what time will that make your arrival over?
19:20.
Roger, verify 1920 for your admitted arrival. We're adding 4 minutes to your estimated arrival time over.
1920, that should make it another half hour according to the flight plan I've on, I think.
That is correct, November 70 Papa, which is only adding 4 additional minutes to your estimated arrival time. Be advised, there is urgent pilot report near destination. Severe turbulence below 2,000 feet. Aircraft was on descent, landing runway 36. It was a Cessna 150, over.
All right, thanks for the update, 7870 Papa. Another first, I never contacted flight services. I'm not sure why they say it's only 5 minutes. The flight plan I find, filed according to ForeFlight, is arrival time pretty much now. I know that they do add 30 minutes for search and rescue, but again, like if I give them a new flight time, I would expect it to be the new arrival time plus another 30 minutes. So Shelter Cove is interesting because we don't have an AWOS there or any kind of wind information. On ForeFlight I can see, and a person at the flight service station also told me that Garberville has a pilot report of severe surface turbulence. I wouldn't take this report for like face value at Shelter Cove because it's 13 miles to the east, and as I said, there's terrain in between, so the wind we're going to experience in Shelter Cove is guaranteed to be different, I'm pretty sure. That of course doesn't mean that it's not as strong that it could cause severe turbulence, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out. Yeah, so let's get a descent going. Let's start descending maybe to 2,500 for now, and let's make that a 500 feet per minute descent. We're going to do that with the autopilot. Getting it bumpy here, so I'm going to slow down actually.
Shelter Cove traffic, experimental 234 Whiskey Delta, 10 miles south of the field, inbound for Shelter Cove.
Yeah, I think that windsock is in favor of 30. Yes. Shelter Cove traffic, Skyhawk 7870 Papa is making a left 180 and joining midfield for left traffic 30. Wind seems to be coming from the north, Shelter Cove. Shelter Cove traffic, Skyhawk 7870 Papa is left downwind 30, Shelter Cove. Right.
Shelter Cove, we have traffic in sight for Whiskey Delta at Shelter Cove.
And Shelter Cove traffic, Skyhawk 7870, Papa turning final 30 Shelter Cove.
While a bit bumpy, luckily the wind was nowhere close to what was reported at Garberville and I was able to land on first try. After tying down the plane, I went for lunch at Jippo, California's most remote brewery according to their website. You shouldn't expect a 20-page menu here, as things that aren't sourced locally are not easy to get. Drinks like Coke or Pepsi are just not a thing here, and the town tries to use their local resources as much as possible. This also means, though, that you get a lot of local, extremely fresh products, like their fish, which is caught right here and was amazing. After lunch, I started exploring the area and walked around town and down to the beach. Shelter Cove is a very peaceful and relaxing place that seems very much in tune with nature and its wildlife. It definitely deserves a place on my list of my all-time favorite airports. The entire town is extremely walkable, and with a few inns in town, I will consider Shelter Cove for an overnight stay in the future. However, you have to be careful with the weather, which can change quickly. The local community seems to have a great attitude toward their airport, and while it might be a bit unconventional to use the taxiway as a bike path, I really like the openness of the entire airport. There are no fences or gates, and people live together with the airport instead of fighting it like in so many other places. Unfortunately for today, it's time for me to head back to the busy Bay Area.
Shelter Cove traffic, Skyhawk 7870 Papa is departing runway 32 Shelter Cove. Mixture Ridge, landing lights on, final is clear. Shelter Cove, Skyhawk 7870 Papa is doing a downwind departure, 30 Shelter Cove. It's probably going to stay a bit bumpy while we're climbing over these mountain ridges, and then like maybe at 3000 or something, I would expect it to get better. On this trip back, we are going to climb to 9,500. So here's another first. I've never been that high, so obviously I'm going to keep a close eye on my O2 saturation. I do have my pulse oximeter with me. Flight time back is about an hour and a half, because we are going to have, at least if as forecasted, we are going to have 35 knots of headwind, tailwind at some point. So once we reach our altitude, so we'll see. We also need to keep an eye on our fuel. Technically we should have enough because we're fast enough, but once we get down, like if we get down to like less than an hour reserve, then we definitely need to stop somewhere and get fuel in between. 1 hour fuel reserve is my personal minimum. We should have, I think, 1.5 to 2 hours. We are at 9,500. Still beautiful weather. And up here actually fairly smooth. We are doing 129 true airspeed and 163 ground speed. I feel like we're the fastest 172 in Northern California right now. So that's pretty nice, 9,500. I am looking at my pulse oximeter as well. I keep measuring also. I'll keep a lookout for signs of hypoxia, like loss of color vision or something. We have basically like another 20 minutes to half an hour until we should start descending, where I have the first descent planned to 7,500, and then I have another step down to I believe 3,500, to duck under the Bravo.
Flying and being able to see the world from the air is a great privilege. Every flight is a memorable experience, and two things I enjoy most are no doubt watching beautiful landscapes passing by below me and exploring places you would normally never get to. This flight to Shelter Cove had both. On a clear day like today, with a visibility of over 50 miles, the sights you see are breathtaking, and it becomes clear how vast the Earth truly is. As a still very new private pilot, there's a lot I have not encountered so far. I've never flown for over 4 hours on a single day. I've never flown over remote areas for an extended period of time. And I've never flown at an altitude where hypoxia is something to look out for. With the forecast of strong winds and the possibility of fog at my destination, I planned accordingly and made sure I was well prepared for the flight. None of these firsts came as a surprise to me, and I had a plan B for every one of them. With the right preparation, this flight turned out to be an easy one. In hindsight, I would actually favor fewer longer trips over a couple of short trips. The additional flight time turned out to be rather relaxing, as the workload during cruise flight is minimal and I got plenty of time to enjoy the beautiful landscapes around me. Surprising to me, I felt less exhausted from this flight than from shorter flights I've done in the past, where you have to first concentrate on takeoff and climb, and once you're at altitude, almost immediately have to start preparing for your arrival. I'm looking forward to expanding my radius and fly to more destinations at a similar or maybe even slightly further distance. I can't wait for the next adventure, and I'm excited for where it'll bring me. I hope you enjoyed following along today's journey. If you want to see more adventures like this, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching.
Skyhawk 70 Papa traffic. Head to your right 1 mile opposite direction, 800 indicated Cessna.
Local traffic, 70 Papa.